start off by adding in the little grooves that I wanna have cut by the laser machine, but not necessarily into puzzle pieces. So I really want his nose to be cut so I can do the grooves with it like that. And then I also want to do his little eye bags, his little nose scrunches, because they are a great feature to add in. And this will just add dimension into the piece. Oops. And also be a bit of a guide for me. Now what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna do this as a single line because I will carve that out a little bit deeper. It's a bit more of an intense frown line. I also want to add in just a cut here. Nope. A cut here because that's his ear crease. My dog is in the background rummaging around, so excuse her. I'm also going to add a crease here and his chin crease. Now I need to edit some of these nodes because I've got an overlapping line here that I need to, whoops, fix up. What is happening? Let's take these back there. I need to join this line on, and then I saw another one. These two up here aren't joined either, so I need to bring those down. Okay, that is everything. What I will do with these clouds as well, I wasn't going to put the lines, but I am going to, whoopsies. What have I done? Did I join those? I stopped that up. Let's put that back on. Okay. Pen. I'm not going to do his ear crease. I'm just going to leave his ear crease as a gradient. And I believe, oh my days, what is that? I am going to add in the cloud creases as well and make them, whoops, make these cut out as well, but not puzzle pieces, just cuts into them so I can carve them. I will extend that a little bit and then add in these two. Whoops. If I can draw as best I can to like a nice clean shape, then that helps as far as not having to edit all my nodes. Now let's just have a look at the colors of Mushu. Now this is the reference image here. Now his fingers are red, so I'm thinking I might actually, they're a deeper red. I might turn those into actual separate cuts. And then I will just edit this node, edit that node. Cool. And then I've got my two pieces. So those are the body parts. There is a crease here. Whoops. I will add in a crease line just there as well. Okay, I think that's it. No, I'm gonna leave the ears as like a gradient. They're not separate puzzle pieces, they're more of a gradient. So I'm gonna leave it like that, bit of gradient on the ears there. I will actually add in this crease here for his other eyebrows, and then I can do that. Okay, that's it. I'm going to export this to my computer now, and so I can start to get my pieces together. Now this is the bluey that I've got. This is one that I've traced already. Now he is a single line backed up. I will need to join these lines together and go over the entire piece. But do I want to work? No, I'm gonna start on Mushu. I think Mushu is more fun. So I'm just gonna save that, start with a new project. All right, so I've just dragged that in. Now I have got Mushu. Look at him. Now he is all in separate pieces, so let's zoom in and make sure. So we've got a cloud. Let's make sure that this is all touching. So I need to go right in and edit all of the pieces. So I think what I might do is copy him. No. What I'll do first is I need to figure out what size I actually want to make my art piece. I don't have a ruler on me, so that's fun. Let's make it like 450. I'm almost inclined to say like, let's start with a square. This will be our backboard. I've got my design up on my screen now and I'm ready to start cutting. Mwah! So with this laser machine, there is a big red switch on the side down here, and that is what turns it on and brings the laser machine to life. Now I have got some material still sitting in here from yesterday, which I can actually use all of this for some pieces I'm going to cut out. But also, I've got this MDF from the inside of another side that I've cut out. I'm actually going to use this for the mane of my Mushu. Now this is 6mm MDF board. So I'm just going to put this back in, position it up the best I can. There is no camera on this machine, so I do have to eyeball it. I don't use the camera very often anyway, so I'm okay with putting this in and eyeballing it and figuring it out. My bed up because there's like the honeycomb is bigger than the actual bed frame space, which is great, but I have to line it up. I usually use magnets that I've got everywhere. I'm just going to use these as like outside guides to keep the material from moving around. It won't move around, but now I'm going to put the laser head in the center of my material, and I'm going to focus it. Alright, everything is perfectly in place, and now I'm going to close the lid, hit the reset button so it turns this red light to a yellow light, and it means the laser is ready to go. I've got my exhaust fan on, which is why it's lit up. My pump is rolling. I'm going to test the water to make sure that the temperature is at a good temperature. Usually around like 20 degrees is where I like to keep my temperature sitting, and then we'll get started and fire it up. Now I am using 10mm per second for my speed, and I am using 38% power for a 6mm MDF board. I have raised the bed probably a mil higher than what the autofocus would actually put the machine with the material onto, just to ensure that it cuts all the way through, because my ground isn't completely even and I haven't leveled the bed properly. It's off ever so slightly, so I know like pieces down this side won't cut properly, but pieces at this side will. So that's why I've done that. A way that I like to check that my material is cutting through is I do have the door taken off the front here, which is where you can put like long pieces in, and I usually get down and I check it so I can see through here like it is cutting because it's coming through the underside of the honeycomb. But I can also, what I like about leaving this open is that it allows me to see and check and watch my material to make sure that the bed underside isn't getting burnt or too on fire, because if there's a fire then I can put it out quickly because I'm standing here watching it all times. So we're gonna let that cut away and we will come back once it's all cut out and complete. Alright, now that it's all cut out, let's see. There it is. I'm gonna use just a bit of scrap material to place all my pieces onto, and I'm hoping that they are all cut. They seem like they are. Yes, they are. What I might actually do before I do pull this out is I might chuck a few pieces on the around the outside of this as well to cut out before I do that, because it'll just make the most of that bit of scrap material that I'm cutting. So I'm gonna close that back up and I'm gonna add in some more pieces around it. While I start to glue up all the pieces of mushu and start sanding and filing, I'm actually going to start running all of my Yetis that I need to do so they can be engraving in the background while I'm right behind the machine to watch it, but also be very productive at the same time as well. So I'm going to set my rotary up into my laser machine. Now I have got a very makeshift device. This is a roller rotary that's designed for the theOMTECH machines, and this is just a bit of timber frame that I've knocked up, and you will see why in a minute. So let's set this up. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and lower the bed completely and take out the honeycomb that's inside. Now I'm going to lower the bed first before I take out the honeycomb, because I don't want it to hit my laser head at the back when you try and pull it out. It's not very pleasant to pull out, but you get used to it. And then underneath the laser bed, you've got these slats that the bed sits on that you can take out as well. So I utilize the end ones, and I leave these ones here permanently, and I only ever remove my inner bars because I got my machine set up to know where my rotary jig fits and then which ones go back in for when I have to put the honeycomb back on for stability. So, alright, so I'm going to put the rotary in, and the reason why I've done this jig is because if you sit this on top of the bed at the height the bed is, it's too high. So I am going to drop this in. Look, it's not a very sturdy jig, but it does the job. I do need to design something a little bit better, but it's another day's problem. Now I've got mine set up to exactly where I want it to be. I'm just going to keep pushing the bed all the way down. Move my rotary head to sort of see, and that's about a good distance from the laser head to where the bottle's going to sit anyway. So I'm going to move that back out of the way. Now I've got a settings in my light burn that takes me to either this home in the back corner or a home when I use my rotary jig. So I'm going to place the head into that homing section so I can line up this center line that I've got taped onto my rotary machine, because that's the center of the bottle where it's going to engrave. Alright, so once I hit that, it basically moved my laser head machine, but there are a few things that I need to do before I can even start. I like to make sure that everything is lined up perfectly. So I'm going to bring the rotary and the bed back up again. And basically what I'm doing here is I want to align my laser head to this line just to make sure it's in the middle, otherwise I need to move this around. So I'm just going to push it back just a little bit. And now that is perfectly in line, I'm going to put my bed back down. Now I've got the cord underneath so it doesn't get caught up in the machine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unplug my, I can't remember the names of the axes, Z and X, Y, I don't know, whatever it is. But I'm going to unplug the plug that's in the back corner of my machine that moves my laser head forwards and backwards. So now only the rotary head's going to move from left to right, and plugging this in is going to move these rollers, or these ones at the front here, it's going to move them forwards and backwards in the action as if the laser head was moving. So I'm going to do that now. So now I can't move my laser head forwards and backwards, however though the wheels will roll. So what I want to do is I'm going to go into my menu and I'm going to go power settings, I'm going to go to rotary function, and I'm going to press enter on the enable rotary function, and I'm going to press yes, enter, and I'm going to write that now, and it's done. Alright, so I need to go ahead and get my Yetis, so we'll bring them over and then we'll set it all up into the file in the computer. Alright, these are all my Yetis. This is how many I've got. I've got one in here, I've got 5 on top of my other desk, so we have all of these to engrave. So I'm going to start off with the very simple ones that I know are really easy, and that's going to be these 36-ounce Yeti water bottles. And with the easy ones is just one simple logo on the front, which should be pretty simple. So let's make a start on that. I just need to figure out which colours are for which design and brand. Yeah, so I'll come back once I'm setting the bottles up into the actual laser machine. So now what I want to do is I want to put the Yeti bottle onto my rollers, but I need to move my laser head away. And I need to put my bed down. Alright, so to adjust the rotary itself, I'll just zoom in a little bit more if I can. Perfect. So I want to have the front where it's not going to hit the black beam, or this black bar, whatever that is. But also I want to have this back far enough where it's not rubbing on anything. So there is a little dial here at the back that will move these back wheels forwards and backwards. So I'm going to sit it there, that's pretty good, and I'm going to retighten it. Now I am going to get my level and just place it on my Yeti and just check whether it's level or not. And it is extremely level. If this was unlevel, you can unscrew this bolt back here and then twist this, which will raise the back wheels up and down so you can get the perfect level there, but that's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my laser head back over. So I'm going to move the laser head back over. Now it's pretty damn close to the bottle itself, but that's okay. Because what I want to do is I want to line this up to the top of the letter E of the word Yeti on this side. And the reason I do that is because from the bottom of the logo to the top of the engravable area, I actually want to put my logo in the center of that, because if I was to do center between the entire engravable area, it's going to be a little bit lower close to the Yeti sign, and it just doesn't look good when you actually physically look at it. So I'm going to rotate this myself, just pick it up and move it around. Now I know for my Yetis that it's about in the middle of the letter E, where is dead center in the bottom. So I'm just going to move the Yeti around. Now I am going to bring the machine back up again just to check, because my red pointer is not perfect. Again. And I'm going to focus it now. Because now that spot is exactly where I want my alignment for every bottle. So every time I change my bottle out to a different one to engrave, I'm going to move my laser head back to this spot, and I'm going to mark it in light burn so that I can then put the bottle underneath and know that as long as my laser dot pointer is on that E in that same spot every time, every bottle is going to engrave exactly the same spot all the way around. So now that is done, the bottle is level. I've autofocused, so I've got my focus level height correct. I've got everything set up, pretty much ready to go. Now it's just a matter of engraving and letting it do its thing. Alright, so what I've done is off camera, while I was waiting for the Yetis and charging my battery, I have gone ahead and put my Mushu pieces together. Now this is where I'm trying to figure out, this is the first time I'm actually doing layered for different heights. So I've got, my nose is the highest point. I want his nose to be the highest point of the piece. I want to cut out another whisker here, whatever those things are called, only because I want this to be a little bit higher as well, the same height as the nose, and I want this whisker at the other side to be lower because technically it's on the back side, so I want that effect of like this is behind. I am tossing up whether I do put his eyebrows a little bit higher. I feel like if I put the eyebrows higher it would look a little bit better. Yeah, I think we should definitely do another eyebrows. What I'm thinking is, I don't know, I need to figure this out a little bit better because it's not right. I've got the whole headpiece. What is that? That's, yeah, that's all one. That is just, what is that? Yeah, I don't know. I need to sit down and like figure this out properly, but that's kind of where I'm up to at the moment. I need to figure out whether this in here is a finger or not, or if it's just a part of the back belly. Well, that's the shoulder, but I'm gonna have this arm. I don't know. I was gonna have, maybe I should have it like that. No, I don't like that. Have the arm a little higher. I could put this arm higher. But then again, it'll match this, it means that the arms, but I'd have to really round that out so that it sort of fades to the back because it's too high there. And then I really should cut another piece out for here so the shoulder is higher than the body, because I seem to be missing that. But if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to put this back in. It's not a finger, but it's, I don't know. It's very hard to decide. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on. I'm gonna probably start gluing some pieces together that I know that I can glue together. Like, I know I can start gluing these clouds together because they're just a double layer. I know that I can glue his fins at the back together, and I can start carving those. But I mean, I can start carving all of his belly because that's a single piece onto the backboard. So I put the backboard down in each piece. So I need to work that out. I'm going to start to glue some together and then start carving what I can while the rotary is in the laser machine, because I'm not going to pull that out just to cut some more pieces when I've got it all set up. So I've got to set it back up. So that's what I'm going to do now.